So, between small recruiting gifts and large one time donations, alumni giving often makes up the largest segments of high school fundraising efforts. Who's more motivated to donate to your high school than the individuals who were once students themselves? Once the head coach of Jackson State University and now the new head coach at the University of Colorado, Deion Sanders openly challenged HBCUs on their giving back to their institutions, which would lead to greater gains in their programs. Hi, I'm Kamaya Sinclair, and thank you for joining us on Bruin Alumni Initiative. Today, I have three former Bruin alumni grads that will join me today to discuss this issue. We have Cedric Walker, 1990 OW quarterback and 1990 North-South All-Star player. Next, we'll have Taylor Renee Johnson, a screenwriter, film director, and producer. Before we get started, I want to share with our viewers Dion's comment on HBCU alumni and giving back.
Let's go.
But because there's a larger HBCU tradition.
Yes.
Right? And so those who have matriculated, those alumni who flee and flock back to the universities, they love the pageantry that goes with it. We always talk about giving.
11% of alumni give back to the HBCUs. 11%.
Start a new tradition on that.
11%.
We need to start a new tradition on that.
You just said tradition. You're talking about the alumni that flock back to the
25.
You're talking about the alumni who flock back to the homecomings. Right. We got 11% given. We need to take care of that, because when we take care of that, these kids are better situated. They're eating better. They're housed better. They're clothed better. Their books are better. Everything is better when we start really giving. We talking.
Right, so I want to start with you, Cedric. Being an athlete, is it really an issue? And if this is an issue, how does it affect our athletic programs, coaches, and our athletes?
Well, I know one of the key things is for people of the community, former graduates, to give back to the schools. I know a lot of schools have booster clubs, but even then, that does not completely sustain the athletic programs to help out. Football and basketball kind of support themselves, but a lot of the other programs, baseball, soccer, softball, track, those programs really need that extra effort from the Booster Club and from other people to help out.
So I hear you saying it's almost like certain programs do get support, but without extra support, they wouldn't be getting equipment or things like that from other people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Gate sales are going to help football. Gate sales are going to help basketball. Typically, the baseball game, it's no admission to the baseball game, the softball game, for track, and typically the budgets for those particular programs are definitely not even close to being the budgets that you have for basketball and for football. So, you have to look for other sources and other than the Booster Club, and that's where the alumni come in to help out.
So it sounds like you agree with his statement on without the alumni's help, some of those programs would be really struggling.
Oh, absolutely.
Taylor, do you agree with Dion's statement? And do you think we need more promotions? What do you think will challenge all of our graduates to get back?
Absolutely. I 100% agree with what he said. I'll say that although alumni play a major role in giving back, I think it's more so community involvement, since predominantly Black high schools, as he mentioned, usually people are going to come to those football games and those basketball games, unfortunately more than they go to any other sport. So I think it's all about marketing. And as someone who works in marketing, it's all about constant marketing in the community to alumni, honestly, going beyond the community, reaching out to other high schools that may not be in our community. It's almost like setting up a game plan of what it is that you're trying to do, what is the type of finances that you're trying to bring into the program, mapping those out, and then going out and executing them.
Right. So I almost hear you saying, yes, we need our alumni and we need our community as well.
Absolutely. It's so important to make people feel involved. So with anything that you do in life, people will draw themselves to it if they feel involved. How can I be a part of this program? How can we have the community be a part of this program? What are the common denominators that we can draw together to join everyone together?
Yeah, I hear you making a lot of good points. And I'm wondering, with all that's being said, I feel like what would be some of the challenges that we can do to help the graduates realize that they need to give back?
Absolutely. I think the first thing to do is think about how sports actually does affect some of these student athletes' lives. Going beyond high school to play on the college level, it's a lot of I won't say lack of resources, but there's equipment that's needed to be given. The weight room, I know with my mother, she is the athletics director now, but she was a collegiate athletics director at South Carolina State University. And I know that with everything that comes with sports, there is a financial issue, particularly at HBCUs and predominantly Black high schools. I think we should think about not only just their future beyond high school resources. I think we should also just think about them just being youth. Youth want to be involved in whatever that can help them feel that they're being seen, right? And so sometimes sport is that one thing that helps students feel a part. And I think if that's what will keep our students, out of anything negative or out of anything that could possibly destroy their future, I think that that should be a focus point, especially in Orangeburg, where some may feel that, there is not much to do. And so I think we should support the things that we have here. And when you support them, they naturally grow into bigger. Once you feed something, it grows. And so that's what I believe.
Yeah, so it's almost like we can challenge them by looking at the bigger picture of what it really does for the student, what it does for the athlete, what it does for the community as a whole, and looking at how much that will affect everybody else will kind of challenge them to say it's important for you to give back because it does all of these things in the long run.
Absolutely. And I think it's not about money. I think it's about these kids' future. I think sometimes in life, money is just a part of everything, unfortunately. In life, you have to put out to get in. And if we really care about, not only the Bruin athletic program, but, any athletic program, especially the ones in the community, South Carolina State, Claflin University, but particularly this high school, then we can't look at money as being a downfall. Like, this is that, this and that. I think we just have to execute it. There just comes a time in life where, we stop saying that we're going to do something and do it and hope that it, grows our program.
And one of the things that I've always looked at is playing the numbers game. So, for example, if you have 1,000 former students that graduated from Orangeburg Wilkinson High School, think in terms of if each one of those individuals give $5 or $10, that's $5,000, $10,000 more for your program. A lot of instances, people really look in large numbers. They say, oh, I really don't have $50 to donate to my high school. I don't have $100 to donate to my high school. Times are really tough right now. But when you start looking in those smaller increments and smaller frequent increments, then time and time, you look at it and that money will actually accrue. And then you have situations where, now what you started out with and what you have now, you're going to end up with a whole lot more if you look at it in those terms. And I think that's one of the key things to get across to the community is that don't get caught on the large numbers. Donate $5. That bag of chips and that soda, that's $5. And if you start donating that, even if you do it once a quarter, that's $20, and then $20 times 1,000 people, then you really start talking about some numbers that can really help out these programs.
Right. So Taylor is saying, looking at the holistic approach, and you're saying, look at how the ripple effects can affect. Just $5 can go big. So looking at how the small things can then make this big change to get this total effect. So one way to challenge the graduates is saying the little things that you do is going to make a ripple effect on the larger community as a whole, which is what I feel like you both have really pointed out.
Absolutely. And again, it just makes those student athletes feel seen. If they see that the alumni, maybe student athletes who used to play there, are giving back to them, they feel like they are worthy of something. And I said that to say it's just so important to give. It's no age. I mean, you can graduate from OW your senior year, walk across the stage the next day, you could be given, right? There's no right or wrong time to give. I just think that it's something that we need to really just dive in more, and again, create those strategies, create those campaigns, create those networking events. Bring back your alumni. I think that's really big, to create events, to bring back those student athletes. Just like Cedric said, bring those athletes back, have them share their stories, their experience. I would love to know what your life was like as a quarterback at OW in the year that you played. And so maybe that might help the quarterback for, the current year that's playing. What I've learned about youth in today's generation, they are really, really, really in tune with hearing stories. And when I say that, like, they love to, believe it or not, these student athletes love motivation. Like, they have ET, they have Deion Sanders, but we don't have to have an ET or a Deion Sanders. We got Cedric Walker, right? So it's not about, it's not about, it's not about the big names. It's just about who come in and believe in these student athletes, give them a word that they can take with them, not even just on the field, but off of the field as well, and carry it and become greater student athletes.
Right. Yeah, you touched on so many great points. And I can only imagine how much more effective it was for somebody who walked through their own shoes. And you said we have our own Cedric Walker. We have our own Taylor Johnson too. Like, there's people who probably could only dream of being in the film area. And you could tell them how you can do it, especially as an African American woman. I could imagine that's going to be so powerful. And to be an African American man role model in the community. I'm wondering what opportunities would that create for having those people coming back? Like, how much would that really do?
Well, I know one of the things that it does, and getting back to what Taylor said, it brings that experience back to the table for a lot of these youth, for them to get an opportunity to hear someone who's come before them, hear their stories. You know, in a lot of instances, you have situations where, um, you know, our youth need some people that can, just guide them in the right direction. And I know I taught at OW, I coached at OW, played football at OW. So there are a number of students previously, when I see them in the store, we engage in conversation, and some of them actually still take advice, from me. They say, hey, this is going on, and then I offer advice to them. So those are some of the opportunities that you can bring. But in addition to that, the more you bring back, again, going back to the numbers game, the more opportunities that you have, for someone to say, hey, man, this was a wonderful opportunity. I really enjoyed it. Here's $20, to help your Bruins sports out.
Right. Yeah, thank you for that take on that. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that point?
He basically covered everything. Again, I'll just go right back to after graduating high school, opportunities with people giving money can lead to, again, them being able to have the necessary equipment they need, renovated maybe facilities, a drawing crowd to, more games. Everybody knows that homecoming is probably like the biggest thing at OW when it comes to football. And just going beyond that to after they walk across the stage, those scholarships, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know if some student athletes, I know a lot of them dream about going to college, but is it really a thing? And I think that we can help with that by giving, again, like Cedric said, $5, like the candy, the Snicker bar, all like he said, that might, have to wait till next week. And then, we just give that $5 and we make a pledge to, even if you can't give $5 a month, we don't know people's financial situation, but I mean, if it's just $5 every other month, or, $50 at the end of the year, something that can help these students, again, feel respected, loved, and seen. Like, I'm really big on helping youth feel like they are a part of a great organization, because believe it or not, they are putting their lives, and I say on the line. Of course, football is an amazing sport, but they're going out there every day. And although they're representing themselves, they are still representing Cedric. They're representing you, Kamaya. They're representing myself. And we have to show them that we are behind them 100%. And I'll also say this. This was something I meant to say earlier. I know that most of the games are like on Friday nights, but I think showing up to those away games more. I think sometimes those are the toughest games. And my brother coaches, Coach Johnson, and when we travel away and we go to some of those bigger schools, I think just having people show up for them goes along with giving. So give your money, but also show up for the students, show up for those athletes to know that, they have that support. And so support doesn't just come financially, it comes, physical as well. So I think that that's a great strategy as well.
Yeah, you guys have mentioned some amazing things that I would love us to talk about some more. But right now, we're going to pause for a minute to talk about our Bruins Spotlight Coach of the Week. And this is a great segue for that. So I would like you guys to meet Mr. Virgin Johnson. Coach Johnson is a Bruin alumni in his second year coaching the inside linebackers at Orangeburg Wilkinson. Coach Johnson, thank you for joining me today. Tell us about the Bruin linebacker core of the 23-24 season and what we should expect.
Very well. Firstly, thank you for having me. And we're expecting big things. Um, we're not that deep, but the strength is in always in numbers. We have about 6 people right now. Maybe we're gonna probably dress about 2 freshmen that came in nice sized, about 6 foot, 6'1", a little slender built, but Coach Carter and I are gonna try to put some muscle on them. But we have one returning starter, and he kind of shared reps, but he's actually and could be a great player. His name is Ivan Williams. He's about 6'2", about 220. So I'm expecting a lot out of him. I kind of stay on him every day at practice to make him more of a vocal and action-based leader, because he kind of lacked that last year, but he's coming along a lot. He's coming along a lot stronger, and I'm actually kind of proud of what he's been and what he's doing. And we have another returning senior who he didn't get as much reps last year, but we're hoping to get him in there and see what he can do. Kastranjay Darby, and we have about, like I said, 2 or 3 more people. So we just try to get better every day. We're trying to build them about speed and technique because we're not as big right now. So that's kind of what Coach Carter and I key on. Most of it done footwork, doing everything right, playing aligning right, playing assignment-based football, and just small things like that. Because we know all the small things, add up to something big. And hopefully, we lead the defense. It's kind of a linebacker-led defense with the safeties, our Sam, our Will, and our Jack. So we hope we can all work together and make something shape real good for the season. And looking forward to see what they can do. We put on pads. I want to say at the end of July, beginning of August, so I can tell a little further more around that time.
Okay, but so far it sounds like you guys got some new things coming. You shared some spotlights, some expectations on what to see. I've seen some videos of your players going to camps. How has that helped improve their technique and understanding of the game?
It actually helped tremendously. For one big thing is they're seeing a lot of older players, and I mean older players at college players and older coaches, college coaches. So they're seeing it done right. And I know Coach Carter is real big on that, a visual thing, and just moving with what's the word I want to say? Just moving with pace. I can't think of the right word, but just moving fast. And that's key to them, because when they see it done by people who they have aspired to be like, it kind of not necessarily puts a weight on their back. Well, it does, but not a bad way, a good way. The expectation, so if you want to get to that level, you have to move like them, act like them, eat like them, sleep like them. So them just seeing that, it was real big. And, a lot of people coming from this area don't get to see a lot of things. So
Right.
he is, and I really commend him for that, because we didn't have as much of that when I was in high school, because it wasn't as big. But he's really, really big on taking them to see things. I think he calls it a tour, a grind you tour, and they go to maybe like 10, 12 different colleges, and that's real big for this area, considering what's going on, and the violence and everything. Just getting to see a lot of new things.
So it sounds like you mentioned you guys aren't technically a big team, but you're really focusing on technique and building their understanding.
Yes, yes, that's actually that's actually the most important part of football. Half the battle is knowing what you have to do, and the other
Mm-hmm.
executing it. So we don't need 6'4", 260, 250, which we wouldn't mind having, but it ain't about the dog, the size of the dog. It's about the fight in them. So we're gonna rock out like that this season, and do our best.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a solid plan. I'm wondering, how has switching from the 3-4 alignment to a 4-2 been beneficial to the speed of the game and understanding to the younger linebackers, since you guys are really honing into the understanding and building technique?
It helped them a lot because it took a lot off their plate that they had to know. We kind of simplified it for them, so it's basically A, B, C. So if this happens, you're going here. If this happens, you're going there. Which we know, and a lot of times in the games, it's never just that easy, like how I said it. But it kind of simplifies their reads, simplifies their drops, their scrapes. Just everything has become simple for them, and that was kind of a problem we had last year. Was more so not necessarily them not knowing, but a lack of understanding on how to, execute what we were trying to get them to do.
Mm. So the honing in on the technique and understanding is going to just make them sharper and keener.
Yes, yes, way, way, way more sharp. Like I say, that's actually the most important part, being knowledgeable. If you know what you have to do, it makes it, like I said, it makes it 100% easier. Just knowing the battle, knowing your opponent. And actually another thing we're real big on is film study. We actually break down film. We got our players breaking down film already. About 2 months ago, Coach Carter walked in and gave me a packet. It was about 125 pages, and I'm like, man, we ain't even in the season yet, Coach. He said, to be great, this is where we start. So I've been looking
Mm-hmm.
at that. I've been sending some stuff to some of the linebackers. So we hope to be the best group on the defense, to be the most prepared, and if I got anything to do with it, we will be.
Wow. Well, sounds like an exciting start. And I appreciate you kind of giving us some information and insight into that, and how that affects this year's play. Now, Coach, I'm going to switch up the cadence a little bit and ask you about your company, Fun Tours.
Okay, well, yes, Fun Tours, we are a motor coach company. We have 155 and 156 passenger buses. So I know maybe a lot of people may have seen us around town with the big
Mm-hmm.
Fun Tours sign on the side of the bus with the volleyball, and the volleyball is bouncing in different places. So it's kind of symbolizing going to different destinations and things like that. And my dad actually started it when I was in college in 2000, and he started in 2015, but he honestly didn't tell me until about 2016. I just know he was always working and doing things like that, and he actually started it for me so I could come home, because I've actually had a son in 2014. So he wanted me to be closer to my son, and I guess to himself also. So we've been doing and operating since 2015. We go everywhere you can think of. We try not to go far places like, California, Texas, New York, but mostly the southeastern region. We and actually God's been blessing us. We've been doing very well. We slowed down during Corona time because, as you know, we couldn't put anyone on.
Mm-hmm.
Now that that's over, we actually get a lot of business, and I'm actually thankful. Like I said earlier, I'm blessed and to be in this position that it can actually run. So that's about the overall logistics of it.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing us more about that. Hope people will keep an eye on that and listen to it. And is anything that I didn't ask that I missed that you like to speak about?
Oh, well, just for the company wise, if you need a quote for a trip, you can contact us at 803-747-0734, or visit our website at www.funtoursSC.com, and they have all the information you can think of. And I appreciate you all having me. And, like I said, I look forward to everyone coming out to participate and show, some time, love, compassion, things like that to our team this year. And be great fans, just like you want us all to be great coaches and great players. Be with us while we're up and be with us while we're down. And, because it's going to happen. It's a part of the game, but just the support and the love that these young men need to see, we would like to have that this year from the fans, the parents, the community, because it takes a village.
It takes a village. Well, thank you again, Coach. I want to thank you again for joining us today, and good luck on the season.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. All right, I want to welcome everybody back. Welcome our guests for final thoughts on alumni giving back and how we can better challenge this dilemma and challenge our fellow classmates in the community of Orangeburg as a collective. And Taylor, I'd like to go back to you. Then I will go to Craig, and then we'll have our final remarks.
Okay. I guess I would sum things up with saying that we need to understand why we're giving back is that we're not just reaching into our pockets and just pulling out. I guess some people think that they're hardworking earnings. We are doing this for a cause. It is to promote empowerment within these student athletes, and not just with football, not just with basketball, but I believe OW has soccer. I'm not sure if they still have a wrestling program. Not sure if they have tennis, but I think that we should just support the youth in general. I think we should show up for them. And I think that we should start an initiative pertaining to a goal. We should set, maybe we set a goal for the year of how much we would like to raise for the program. And every year we maybe challenge that goal, maybe by, a certain amount of numbers. I don't want to just throw numbers out there, but we challenge that goal every year. And I think that will be fun. Like, let's see if we can top what we made last year, or let's challenge maybe, people in the community. Maybe we create like I don't know, something fun, something that will really just inspire these kids. I can't stress enough how important it is to let them know that we care, that we are showing up, and that we're there for them. And that's really just what it is for me. I think it's just all of us, and there's no age. Again, there's no age to give. So that's what I believe.
Right. So you're like, right, once you graduate, you are an alum, and now it's time to give back and kind of move that initiative forward. And I've heard you mention again, like, we want them to know that they matter, and showing them that ripple effect really counts.
And then when they graduate, again, these same student athletes, once they cross the stage, they'll already see the pattern that we have.
Right.
And so now they'll know, okay, well, alumni did this for me. So now now I have to do it for the people who are coming behind me. So absolutely.
And that not only builds community, but it also sounds like that builds a certain atmosphere. Like, this is how we connect as Bruins.
Absolutely.
Right, well, thank you for sharing that. And then Cedric, now to you. Any final thoughts that you would like to add on how we would challenge fellow classmates in the overall community?
Sure. As a part of the initiative, and one of the things that we talked about frequently was doing a class challenge. And so what you have is you basically, in line with what Taylor said, you have a challenge where each class, and you do the donation drive and to see which class raises the most money. And one of the things that we've been trying to do, of course, is to support our classmate. So the class of 1990, when we had things out there last year, we definitely tried to donate. We tried to make sure we provided not only just monetary support, but physical support out there when things were needed. So I think that's another initiative that I think will bring some excitement, some intensity when people look at the board and say, class of 1977 is dominating right now. And then, of course, the other classes are going to be like, oh, well, I'm not going to let, the class of 1977 beat us.
Right.
So that's another way. And I think that's one of the good ones to perhaps start with. And then all of that together would hopefully meet that common goal that Taylor discussed.
Yeah, so I hear a mutual consensus that some regular competition will kind of really help with that. And so having an overall goal, and then even having some class competition on which class can raise the most, seems like that would be a great initiative to kind of start with.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much. Any final thoughts? I want to make sure that you guys had a chance to share everything before we transition.
I just wanted to say shout out to the class of 2011. We are the greatest class to walk the halls on Bruin Parkway. No, I just want to say that to whoever is, watching this when you guys do decide to air it, I hope that you feel empowered from what me and Cedric said. Know that we are not just up here to be seen, we are up here to be heard and to give a greater source of, I would say, motivation for our community and for our alumni from Orangeburg Wilkinson to give back, because the world awaits to see our young athletes. And I believe that there's so much talent here in Orangeburg. You see people all over the world, but I'll always say that South Carolina and Orangeburg has so much talent. And I would just love to see them really have an opportunity to showcase that talent, have the best of the best like everyone else. And again, just feel seen.
Yeah. Thank you for those final words.
Absolutely.
Yes, one of the things that I wanted to say is that we are very, very close here in Orangeburg with the, I mean, if you look around the community, you can see that there are a lot of things going on that's really building Orangeburg up. And one of the things that's definitely going to help with that also is that we're building a new high school.
Right.
And so when you build a new high school, you know that concept, sometimes if you build it, they will come. So what you're hoping is that as Coach Carter continues to build this program, not only is he building a program, but he's building character in these young men also. So one of the things that we're looking forward to is just being a part of that village concept, being a
Mhm.
part of supporting these young men, and then not only supporting the football team, but supporting sports, and just supporting the school across the board. I mean, there are a lot of retired teachers that can help with tutoring. There are a lot of retired teachers that can help with mentoring programs, and you don't have to be retired teachers. You just have to be someone who's passionate about wanting to see our children be successful. And what happens in a lot of instances is that sometimes the positivity and those good things that happen in the sports program, it sometimes feeds into other things that go on in that building. So if you add all those things together, what you're looking at is basically an opportunity to give back. And giving back is not just a monetary means. Giving back is just providing whatever means that school needs. Sometimes the school just needs volunteers, so just stepping in and volunteering for something. Sometimes if you can't do the monetary side of it, volunteering helps as well. That village concept really, really helps all parts of our schools to be successful.
Yeah. And you know what I loved? Each thing that you guys mentioned or things that you already have. Like you're not looking for new answers. You're not trying to find a new like everything that you mentioned is already there. And I'm wondering what's getting in the way of people getting out. Why is this not happening? Why is alumni funding so low?
Well, exposure, and this is an excellent avenue right here. And of course, now with social media, there's just a lot of opportunities now to provide more exposure to things and get people thinking about things. Before it was just the radio, and television, maybe the newspaper, but now you have so many dynamic ways of reaching out to people, saying, hey, you know, come on back. Come on back. Let's take a look at what's going on at Orangeburg Wilkinson High School. Let's be a part of the change initiative that we all want to see for our students and for our student athletes.
I think it's a culture thing. I think we have to break what we've always done and what we've always known and just create an entire new mindset, not think how we used to think, and just believe and have that faith. It's almost just like taking risks and taking that jump. It is, it's become a norm for our culture to not want to give. And not to say that that's a bad thing, because that's a whole nother conversation. But I think the way to fix that is to just, again, show up for each other. Alumni show up for each other, have discussions. How can we do this? How can we make this happen? How can we execute? But it's an entire new mindset change, an entire mindset shift. And it's about coming together and just making it happen. A lot of people ask me, like, Taylor, how did you get started doing what you're doing? I did the research and I just executed, right? So sometimes when you take too long to just talk things out all the time, talk, nothing's getting done. You just have to come up with that game plan, sit down, map it out, change your mindset, and just execute. Like, just, you gotta execute. You can't spend too much time talking. I think that's what a lot of, not just, Orangeburg Wilkeston, but I think, school, a lot of people deal with that. We always say what we're going to do, but we never really do it. I think we need to find like that leader, which I think is Coach Carter. He's a great leader, great coach, great man. And let's just pour into him and then the team, and just, that is how we can make this happen.
Yeah. You guys mentioned a lot of great things, and just some of the patterns that I've heard was, it's a ripple effect. It starts with one. It doesn't take much to start the change, and we can already do it now. Start with the small things and see how much it pours into other people's lives.